as you go into Game 5?
Before I start, I want to apologize to y'all. I didn't talk the other day. I was quite a bit frustrated and very careful of. Didn't want to get myself fined, but more so say something and make it sound like an excuse when you struggle and lose. And I didn't come up here and talk, and I felt like a coward when I got home, so I wanted to apologize to y'all for that. As far as 3, we just got to win a game. Win one game, take it from there. I think that's our mindset. Do all that we can, figure out a way to win one. You win one, everything changes. So that'll be our mindset going into Game 5.
Draymond, players like Ant are going to get theirs at some point in the game, but do you think that tonight was more a lack of a defensive effort on you guys or just some star power that they had?
They hit shots. They shot the ball extremely well. I thought we defended good in spurts, but, they got going and we never was able to put out the fire. So got to give them a lot of credit. Kind of felt like they were due for a great shooting night. Sucks that it had to be tonight, but it was, and we just got to figure it out and coming back in Game 5.
Draymond, you guys were closing the half really well, and then, of course, Ant hits that big shot at the very end. And you and Gary defended it like you should, but how big was that shot for him to go down at that time?
It was huge. I think, one thing we talked about at halftime is like, yeah, he hit a tough shot, but what could we have done differently? Could we have not let him walk up to the spot, But it's like every time we're on a run, we're letting Ant break the run up. And somebody can break the run up, but it can't be their best player. Our defense should be so keyed in at that point during a run that it can't be their best player just getting to a spot and raising up. And I'm not just talking about that play. There were several points, we're on a run and even last game, he get to the free throw line and just raise up, and it's like, so I think we got to do a better job there. And that's not one guy. That's a complete team effort when you're guarding a guy like that. So I think we got to be better there. Once we get the run, just got to put up more force defensively.
You guys only got up 27 threes, and it was pretty low volume last game, too. How do you generate enough offense, basically, in 2025 when it doesn't seem like you guys can get up that many threes?
Yeah, I think, number one, everybody got to be ready to shoot. You get to open them, you got to let it go. I think sometimes we're passing some up. You're without Steph. At times, the first good look oftentimes will be the best look, And when you got Steph out there, you can turn down looks because you can go and play on the backside, and he creates causes so many dominoes to fall. But when he's not, you turn down that first open look and then go looking for something else, and it may not open up again, And so I think starters, we got to take the first open ones. Not mildly contested ones, but if they're open, you got to let it go. So I think that's where it starts for us.
You guys are obviously facing elimination. It's later stage of yours and Steph's career. Do you expect him to almost try to push himself back considering the circumstances? And do you have to be part of a conversation of him maybe having to protect himself from rushing back?
No, we're not going to Superman this thing. If he's in the place where he could play, I'm sure he will, and him and Rick and everybody will figure that out, but we don't need Superman. Got to play the long game. So if he can, we know he will, but there's no pressure. We got to figure out how to win whether he play or not.
Draymond, you were talking about defending Ant. He was obviously a tough cover his first few years in the league, but now that his three is so much better, how much tougher is he? And is there anyone really in the league who has that combination of three-point ability and dynamic drives to the basket?
No. There is no one. He is a one-on-one. But I think, with the increased volume, the ability that he's worked his tail off for to be able to shoot the ball like that. makes him a tough cover for sure. But I think we also got to do a better job. Like, his first ones can't be off of offensive rebound, kick out threes. I think he's using some of them to get going the last couple games. So we got to do a better job there of taking those away. And if we don't get the rebound, you got to go into a scramble and not give up them open threes.
Draymond, with Jimmy, what's the difference tonight when he takes 9 shots as opposed to the last game when he's taken 26?
We obviously need them shooting the ball, but their defense, they were collapsing on them today. So we tried to pick up that slack. But I know he's not feeling well. Been pretty crappy all day, so that also affects the energy as well. But no excuses made here. I think that's on me. I got to find a way to get him in position, more positions to score. I think tonight I was just trying to get him the ball, and I don't think I got him the ball in good spots, which then allowed the defense to load up on him. So I got to do a better job there of getting him the ball in better spots to where it's not as easy for the defense to key on him.
Hey, Draymond, can you talk about just morale of Steph at this point? Like, how's he holding up? You saying you don't want to be Superman, but I'm sure he's putting the weight of the franchise on him. And just, overall, just your thoughts on just how, I guess, unlucky the playoffs can be sometimes. Tatum looked like he's done for the season. I don't know if you saw that or knew that, but just, I guess, the life of the playoffs.
Yeah. When you're competing for championships or trying to, the most important thing you can have on your side is health. You start getting a month, 2.5 months longer into the already long season, and injuries are more likely to happen. So you try to do all that you can to prevent that. Send my love to JT. Never wish any injury on anybody, hoping that it's not what everyone thinks it is. Such a great young talent in this league. Does everything the right way. So hate to see him go down. As far as Steph, he's working his tail off every day. He's in here 8-9 hours a day, working, doing what he can to try to get back. So, his morale is great. Obviously, nobody's excited right now, but he's working to get back. That's all you can do at this point.
Draymond, this is the third straight game where Jonathan Kuminga's had a good scoring game. I was wondering for you, what is it about this series where the spacing hasn't been ideal that he's been able to get to the basket, get to the rim, and what do you expect to see from him in Game 5?
Same thing he's been doing. Putting pressure on the rim, getting out in transition, attacking seams where he can. But I've always said he's a special talent. You get the ball in his hands and let him figure it out. That's what I try to do. Expect him to have a big game for us in Game 5, but, we need him to continue to play with that same aggression. So we definitely need it.
Draymond, if Steph can't go in Game 5, what's the non-negotiables you guys absolutely have to have in order to come out of Minnesota with a win?
We got to get loose balls, long rebounds. I thought we did a pretty good job of pushing the pace for parts of the game today, but if you get loose balls and those long rebounds, that ramps that up even more, They get offensive rebounds, get the loose balls. We're taking the ball out the net. We're already missing our number one guy who makes the dominoes fall, so it makes it that much tougher. So got to come up with all the loose balls and set that type of tone, and then defensively got to be really good. You can't give up 117 points without Steph, you're probably losing, because the likelihood that we're going to score 117 points without him is not that high. So everyone has to commit to getting it done on the defensive end, everybody being on the string. That's how we can give ourselves a chance.
To follow up from the other night, could you elaborate on what you meant by the agenda, statement you made?
I've moved on.
What has it been like for Steph on the bench watching these games he can't play in? Is he silent? Is he talkative? Is he angsty? What do you feel coming off of it?
He's not silent. He's talking, communicating with everyone. He's kind of a voice between the coaches and the players, at the moment. But you can tell he's antsy. He grabbed the ball here and there, start dribbling, want to shoot. He's definitely antsy, but, he's as involved as he can be.
All right, we got Looney ready to go.